Matthew chapter 24, begin reading at verse 3. When you have it, say, I have it. If you don't have it, it's on the screens in the house. Also, it will be online at the bottom of the screen, so you can follow along with me on this morning. Amen? And I'm going to read. You can follow along with me. Now, as he sat on the Mount of Olives, the disciples came to him privately, saying, Tell us, when will these things be? And what will be the sign of your coming and of the end of the age? And Jesus answered and said to them, Take heed that no one deceives you. For many will come in my name, saying, I am the Christ, and will deceive many. And you will hear of wars and rumors of wars, so that you are not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there will be famines, pestilences, earthquakes in various places. And all these are the beginning of sorrows. Then they will deliver you up to tribulation and kill you, and you will be hated by all nations for my name's sake. And then many will be offended, will betray one another, and will hate one another. Then many false prophets will rise up and deceive many. And because lawlessness will abound, the love of many will grow cold. But he who endures to the end shall be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom will be preached in all the world as a witness to all the nations, and then the end will come. You may take your seats. So today we're going to begin a very, very, very ministry-changing, ministry redirecting, life-changing, region-changing series on this morning entitled Love Theory. Come on, let everybody say Love Theory.
Love Theory.
We're going to begin on today as I set the stage and lay the foundation for helping you to better understand this word that we often use in our English vocabulary without really understanding the true meaning of it. And so we're going to begin this series this morning with a message entitled, It's a Cold, Cold World. Can we look at him and say, it's a cold, cold world. Last month, our apostle was here, and during his time here, we were blessed to have a natural church development or NCD assessment. And this NCD assessment, it's natural church development is a paradigm. It's a way of thinking about church growth. Think about it as being a checkup. Most of us in the room don't like going to the doctor. And we don't like going to the doctor because we're afraid of what the doctor may say. Versus going to the doctor to hear what the doctor may say so we can get better. Instead, we have a fear going to the doctor with him telling us something we don't want to hear because we don't want to hear that and we don't want to work at it. And it's like, if I don't hear, it's going to go away. And it doesn't work like that. So the natural church development assessment tool, it's like getting a checkup. It's like going to the doctor and getting a checkup. It's how you are growing from a growth standpoint. And so growth should be about quality, which is health, and growth should be about quantity, which is numbers. Let everybody say health. And numbers. So it's not just numerical growth, it is healthy numerical growth. So it's not just adding numbers for numbers' sake. Like you may say, I know some of you guys, y'all get caught up in all these social media fads, and so you want to get some gains. That means you want to put on some weight. Trying to get some gains. Okay, but all weight gain is not good weight gain. So you gain, but then you gain. And when you gain, then it gain don't go away. And so now you have gains in places that won't leave. It's like that relative that don't leave when they say they're going to stay for a week. But then they still there, and you got to go to them and say, hey, I thought that you said that you was leaving on Tuesday. No, I changed my plans. But you didn't talk to me about changing your plans. So it's about numbers, it's about health, it's about quantity. But the paradigm also suggests that if a church is growing as an organism should, the health or the quality of the organism is going to have a direct impact on its size or quantity. So the quality impacts the quantity. So if it's quality growth, then anything that's healthy grows. Any parents in the room, raise your hand. Okay? Do your kids eat?
Yeah, they do.
Are they growing?
Yeah.
It's because they're healthy. If your kid wasn't hungry, you would question their health.
That's right.
So anything that's alive should be growing. So growth is organic for a healthy child. Listen, if man is 15 and he 3'6", and you don't have dwarfism in your family, but you like, no, that's just my little man. No, he's not growing. Something's wrong. You're a bad parent. We're calling CPS on you. You're neglecting your child. So it's about anything that's healthy should be growing. You know, woman of God, man of God, when you're healthy, your hair grows. Trying to help some of y'all. Like, I can't figure out what's going on. You're not healthy. You know, listen, when you're healthy, your nails grow. Am I making sense? Anything that's healthy should organically grow. So if a church can become healthy over time, it's more likely and better able to reproduce disciples, ministries, and more churches. Anything that's healthy should reproduce. Am I making sense? So a healthy church should produce healthy members. A healthy church should have healthy programs. A healthy church should be doing all the things that healthy churches do. And so this NCD assessment is like a report card. And I know most of you guys don't like report cards. Because your report card tells you where you're failing. It tells you what you haven't been studying. You know, you swore for God you was going to pass that test. You knew you was going to pass it. And you failed it. You know, and then, you know, as a kid, I never did this. My brother was a report card hider. My brother hid everything. Homework, report cards, he was a hider. And it as if the teachers didn't have record of it at the school. So, but most of us don't like report cards. We don't like, listen, you don't like a report card, and the same people who don't like report cards as kids don't like your credit scores either. Oh, I don't need to know them numbers. You better. You know, you're the same person, don't want to go to the doctor. You know, it's like, what my blood work say? I don't even want to know that. Look at them and say, numbers matter. And so this report card for this NCD assessment, it measures 8 key factors of churches of all sizes, all denominations, and all races all over the world. So the assessment is a very unbiased assessment, and it's been used in almost 10,000 churches all over the world, so that means it's reliable. Right. You know, the data is not skewed. You know, this is not a rock thing. This is not a Pastor Curl thing. You know, it's the Natural Church Development Organization that has put together a tool to help churches to be able to know how they're doing. And so it has 8 key factors or 8 areas of the report card. Are y'all with me? Yes, sir. So the first thing that it measures is empowering leadership. That's a metric or a space on the card that it measures. It measures gift-oriented ministry. It measures passionate spirituality. It measures effective structures. It measures inspiring worship. It measures holistic small groups. It measures need-oriented evangelism, and it measures loving relationships. So it measures and gives you measurements in each of these categories. So what we did is we had 31 people of all ages, background, and ethnicities, time in the ministry, and they did a survey. And so the survey was done so we could know what's our own personal report card, and then how does our report card compare to other churches all over the world. So it's unbiased. You know, I didn't set nobody up. You know, look at them and say, this is our real grade. You know how you used to go to the professor and be like, can I talk to you? Listen, I was looking at my grade, and I was wondering, it just don't seem like that's what I made. No, that's what you made. Well, you know, but I want to talk to you about question number 3 on page 4. I thought this was the answer. You thought wrong. So each of these 8 areas are equally important, okay? But what's most important is what the assessment refers to as the minimum factor. The minimum factor is the most important. Think about having a barrel with pickets around the barrel, and the water can only go into the barrel at the level of the lowest picket. So the minimum factor is the lowest area that you have of those 8. And you can't go past, no matter how good the other 7 may be, you can't put more in the barrel than where your minimum is. Am I making sense? So we did the assessment, and because if you can improve the quality of your minimum factor, it results in quantitative church growth. So if you fix what's lowest, then it raises everything else up with it. So our minimum factor was loving relationships. And in particular, we scored very low on affirmation and encouragement. We scored very low on atmosphere of joy and acceptance. We scored very low on deepening relationships, while scoring extremely high on conflict resolution. The Bible says, my brother or sister offend me, go to them. Hey, let me holler at you right quick before Pastor get here. Let me holler at you. Listen, the other day when you gave me that look, yeah. So we're quick to fix stuff with people that we don't even have a relationship with. We quick to call people out that we don't even really know. And because we don't know them, we don't know what's really going on with them to know why they did what they did. But we say, the Bible say, because Pastor teach us the Bible. We're a Bible-believing ministry. Don't you know the word? The word say. So, most pastors would probably have walked out of the assessment upset or depressed. I was excited. I walked out excited because I was excited about the opportunity for us to get better, while also being curious of how did we get there? What have us's done? Because the tool didn't lie. You know, I saw the numbers. I'm going to tell you, my heart dropped. I was like, oh, I know it was that bad. I knew what some of the issues were. I'm the shepherd. I know my sheep. I know my house. So I predicted what our minimum factor was going to be. I've been saying it for months before the assessment. I was like, I know what the issue is. I feel it in the atmosphere. I watch y'all interactions. So I knew what it was, but I didn't know that was the score. You know, it's like, you know, when your team lost, then you look at the score and you're like, oh. Y'all got drugged. Whoo, that was bad. You lost by 30? Oh. You know? And I'm saying, they're like, no, L's are L, don't matter. No, there's levels of L's. Did I lose by 1 on a buzzer beater, or did I lose by 40? That's a whole different type of loss. I sleep differently with those losses. So the minimum factor is important, but I was like, Pastor, how did we get here? How did this happen? So I stepped back and I realized that it's not a rock issue. Because I was like, we can't be just, you can't be just here, like in, with my people. I mean, there's got to be something greater at work. And I realized it's an issue for our world in general. Because the world around us is a cold, cold world. Come on, look at your neighbor and ask me, have you become cold? You looked at them, they frowned at you. No, I ain't cold. What make you think I'm cold? I said I ain't cold. So, one of the things, Deaconess O'Neill, Deaconess Williams, I'm starting to understand. Look at neighbor and say, Pastor learning. I'm learning. So it's experience and exposures I talked about yesterday, so we can get a little education. I'm learning. But I'm beginning to understand that people both in the world and in the church really don't know what love is, really don't know what love looks like, really don't know how to love, and really don't know how to be loved. Just stick with me on this morning. Am I all right? I love you. Proverbs 10 and 12 says, hatred stirs up strife, but love covers all sins. Hatred stirs up strife. Kendrick said he hates Drake. I hate the way you walk. I hate the way you talk. I hate everything about you. Pastor, how you know all that? It's a cold, cold world. I keep my ears to the streets. I follow y'all on social media, so I be knowing. Kendrick dropped this last night in the middle of the basketball game. Y'all do know that's all marketing, right? Y'all do know that's business, right? That's nothing but two heavyweights sparring in order to build up a fight. Watch when the album drops and everybody buying their stuff. So don't fall for the hype. But I'm saying it's hate stirs up strife, but love covers all sins. The word sin is the word harmatia. Harmatia means to be misfocused. So when people are misfocused, what helps them to get back focused is love. Because love covers all sins. Now, love doesn't give an excuse for the sin, but love covers. So one of the most unfortunate things about communication is our English language is very limited. A few days ago, I saw a video on social media, and they were using the phrase, you good. And you good had like 8 meanings. And it all depends upon the context of a conversation. You acting a fool, you good? We go out to eat after service. I pay for mine. I look at you, you good? Because I can't help you today. I ain't got no spare change. Listen, before I run my card, you good. Your kids acting a fool. You good? You done got a whooping. You good? So, you know, I walk up to some of y'all sometimes, and I look at that facial expression, I'm like, you good? Why you ask that, Pastor? I don't know. It was something about the eyes. Your eyeballs wasn't right. But that's the limitations of the English language, is we don't have multiple words. We have to be able to know the context of which the statement is made. And in this world today, we often take things out of context. And when you take things out of context, you change the meaning. You change the meaning, you end up changing outcomes. And so, similarly, we have this same issue with expressing the emotion of love. We have one word in English for love, but in Greek, there are 8 different words. Can I teach a little bit this morning? Try to help some of y'all, because, you know, so when you say you love someone, what do you really mean? Because depending upon the situation, I can interpret what you're saying differently and receive it differently in the way you meant to say it. So, but in the Greek, there are 8 different words for love. The first word is eros. Eros means sexual passion. You freaky. You know, you met them yesterday. I love you. No, you don't. That's erotic. You know, you excited. You turned on. You know, they got you all going. You know what I'm saying? That ain't love. And listen, and eros goes by quickly. You know, that's why it's like, man, I love you. And tomorrow you're like, okay, why are you calling me? But you say you love me. I did yesterday. So eros is a sexual passion. Philia is a deep friendship. Ludus, not ludicrous. Ludus is a playful love. Agape is a love for everyone. Trying to see if they follow me up there. Oh, look at y'all trying to stay with a brother. Agape, love for everyone. Pragma, a long-standing love. Philatia, love of the self. Storge, familiar love. And mania, obsessive love. You know I love you, girl. Man of God, she showed up at the job on your lunch break unexpectedly. You know I love you. Here go your lunch. I don't know if I want to eat that. You put a little too much love in that. I don't know. So, love is supposed to undergird all of our relationships. The problem is, TJ, is how can I undergird a relationship if we don't have the same understanding of love? What happens when I'm speaking storge, friend zone, and you speaking eros? What happens when I am loving you like a brother, like a sister in Christ, and you are mania? I'll be watching you praise. I like how you lift your hands to Jesus. Every Sunday at 11:06, you go to the bathroom. I see you. But it's because I love you in Jesus' name. So, we often fall in love with a version of a person. We depending upon where we are and they are, this word love, we could fall in love with a version that will change tomorrow. We fall in love with a version of the person, but what happens when they change? Does the love change? Does how you love them change? Back then, you didn't want me. Now I'm hot. You all up on me. Eros. Back then, I wasn't a cute person in the school. Now the butterfly done flew. And so now you're like, oh, you got contacts now? Oh, wow, you blossomed since high school. See, people changed. I'm going to say something. I'm going to mess with you real quick. People change. God's character, Walter, does not change. But the side of his character that you see from season to season does change. No, Pastor, you said God's immutable. He changes not. But in one season, you see him as Rapha, part of his character. In another season, you see him as Nisi. Another season, he is Shalom. Wait a minute, God, you changed. No. In different seasons, you see different parts of his character. But if you don't understand that, you can say, God don't love me. See, we can't change what God does, but in relationships, we often change what we do or what we expect from people because we have our own theories of love based upon our generation and our upbringing instead of understanding God's true meaning of love. So depending upon your generation in the room, you see love differently. Like if you are a boomer or Gen Xer, you probably see love as your parents allowing you to be independent. Because you couldn't wait to get out of the house. If you are a millennial or Gen Zer, you see love as helping me even though I'm 30. Because that's love. I'm your child. You're 30. You're not no child. You got a child. What you talking about? So if I say, get out, learn how to live on your own, you don't love me? No. I love you. Listen, my parents love me too. They love me so much that you can't come home. They love me so much that figure it out. So therefore, I didn't call. I stopped asking. It was pointless. I'm not gonna call them like, hey, listen, let me borrow something. Borrow what? let me hold 40. Let me hold 50. Listen, you better hold yourself and go donate some blood or something. So you could say, you don't love me. So when you have a mixture of generations, all in the same place at the same time, and a mixture of different ethnicities and cultures, then now you have a misunderstanding of what love looks like because you want to be loved the way that you know how to be loved. So the young people say the old people, they don't show nobody no love. They just hard on everybody. The old people say that's because you're lazy. If you weren't so lazy, I'd love your butt. And the young people say, that's because y'all so judgmental. Y'all, that's because your mama didn't love you. So since your mama didn't love you, you don't want to love me. Generational. And now, here we come together to do ministry, to try to transform a region with all these different understanding and needs of love. So everybody has their own theory and true meaning of love. Love me how I need to be loved. So theory, am I right? So theory is defined as a plausible or scientifically acceptable principle or body of principles offered to explain a phenomenon. It is an analysis of a set of facts in the relationship to one another. So if you talk to everyone or talk to somebody about love, everyone has a theory or a way that they feel they should be loved based upon either their perceived love language or their needs. You know, so you say, so what you do is you have criteria for people. Like, listen, you know, because you done read all these books. My love language is acts of service. Serve me. If you love me, serve. My love language is words of affirmation. Talk to me nice. So if I don't speak your love language, now you say I don't love you. What if I don't say nothing at all and do nothing at all? Now you're like, you definitely don't love me. So we have these different theories. There's psychologists and researchers have proposed several different theories of love to explain how it forms as well as how it endures. There are 5 major theories proposed to explain the psychology of love and other emotional attachments. Can I teach you a little bit more? Yes, this first theory is called liking versus loving. In 1970, psychologist Zick Rubin proposed an explanation for the difference between liking and loving. Sometimes we experience a great amount of appreciation and admiration for others. We enjoy spending time with a person, want to be around them. This is liking, according to Rubin, and doesn't necessarily qualify as love. Love is much deeper, more intense. It includes a strong desire for physical intimacy and contact. People who are in like enjoy each other's company, while those who are in love care as much about each other's needs as their own. Growing up, I remember that what we used to, because my mom said, you too young to love anybody. So you just like them. Some older people know in the room, it's like, oh, so you liking them or what? Yeah. Yeah, we like each other. Couldn't say love. But like was, I enjoy being in their company. I enjoy being around them. It ain't deep. See, the problem that you've had in some relationships because you was in like and they was in love, or you was in love and they was in like. You try to go deep, they were like, no, shawty. We're not going to the movies and dinner. Take you to Applebee's. You ain't get no Ruth Chris. Listen, I'll take you to Sonic. I'll let you get an upsize. You can get a bigger size. That's love. So, another theory is the color wheel model of love. In 1973, the book Colors of Love, psychologist John Lee provided another theory of love, and he compared styles of love to the color wheel. There's 3 primary colors. He suggested there's 3 primary styles of love. He suggested that one was eros. The term eros stems from the Greek meaning passionate or erotic. Lee suggested this type of love involves both physical and emotional passion. It represents love for an ideal person. Look at your neighbor and say, that's a lie. He said there was ludus. Comes from the Greek word meaning game. Ooh. So this form of love is conceived as playful and fun, but not necessarily serious. Oh. Y'all know about that. What y'all doing, ludus? Hey, it's a situationship. It's an entanglement. It ain't serious. It's playful, but people get hurt playing. Listen, those who exhibit this form of love are not ready for commitment and are wary of too much intimacy, so it represents love as a game. Storge, he said, stems from the Greek term meaning natural affection. This form of love includes familial love between parents and children, siblings, extended family members. This love can also develop out of friendship, where people who share interests and commitments gradually develop affection for one another, therefore represents love as friendship. Later, Lee proposed that as The primary colors can be combined to create other colors. The three primary styles of love can be combined to create secondary love styles. So in 1977, he expanded the list of love styles with three new secondary love styles, which were mania. And he said mania was a combination of eros and ludus, representing obsessive love. Stalkers. Bust the windows out your car. You know, for all your Jasmine Sullivan lovers out there. Y'all didn't realize that was mania. You should not be busting the windows out of nobody's car. Mania. Pragma, which is a combination of ludus and storge, representing realistic and practical love. And then agape, a combination of eros and storge, representing selfless love. In 1986, Robert Sternberg, he proposed the triangular theory of love. This theory has three components: intimacy, passion, commitment. Different combination of the components results in different types of love. For example, combining intimacy and commitment results in compassionate love, while combining passion and intimacy leads to romantic love. According to Sternberg's triangular theory, relationships built on two or more elements are more enduring than those based on a single component. Sternberg uses the term consummate love to describe combining intimacy, passionate, and commitment. While this type of love is the strongest, most enduring, Sternberg suggests it's also the most rare. Y'all want to keep going? Yes. There was the attachment theory of love. In 1987, before most of y'all was born, Cindy Hazen and Philip Shaver, two researchers from the University of Denver, share their views on the psychology of love. They theorize that romantic love is a biosocial process similar to how children form attachments with their parents. This theory is about to mess y'all up. Their theory is modeled after psychologist John Bowlby's attachment theory. According to Hazen and Shaver's attachment theory of love, a person's attachment style is partially formed by the relationship they had with their parents in childhood. This same basic style then continues into adulthood when it becomes part of their romantic relationships. There are three styles of attachment: anxious or ambivalent love. A person with this style often worries that their partner doesn't love them, and sometimes they want to be with their partner so much that it scares the other person away. I don't understand why I can't keep a man. I don't understand why I can't keep no woman, Pastor. You ran him off. There is avoidant. Someone with this style is uncomfortable getting close to others. They also typically experience difficulty with developing trust. Then there's the secure. As its name suggests, the secure attachment style involves being secure in the relationship. Someone who is secure has very few worries of abandonment or fears of someone else getting too close. Based upon Hazen and Shaver's research, secure attachment is the most common style. This is followed by the avoidant attachment style and the anxious ambivalent attachment. Hazen and Shaver also propose that one's experience in love and attachment affect their beliefs, which affect their relationship outcomes. It's a cyclical process that can be okay for people with a more secure attachment style, but could create issues for someone who's avoidant or anxious ambivalent in their relationships. So they propose, Jalen, that there is a direct correlation between your attachment and love that you receive from your mother and father and how that ends up affecting who you with and how you love them. So if I got mom and daddy issues and I don't feel like my mother loved me right, If I don't feel like my daddy corrected me right and loved me right, and or my father was not there for me, or my mother was at work all the time, and so now I have a skewed definition of love, and I take that skewed definition of love into every relationship I have, which makes it difficult to connect with people depending upon whether I'm ambivalent or avoidant. So I can't let anybody, deacons, get too close. And anytime I feel like it's getting a little too serious and a little too close, I got to create some distance. I got to find a way. I got to find an out. I got to do something to act a fool to piss them off, so therefore they can say, I don't love you no more, get out. So I'm gonna burn down the whole house with everybody in it. I'm going to sabotage a relationship. It's not you, it's me. Yeah, it is you. And then the last theory is the compassionate versus passionate love theory. In 1988, psychologist Elaine Hatfield added to our theories of love by proposing there are two basic types of love: compassionate love and passionate love. Compassionate love is characterized by mutual respect, attachment, affection, and trust. This love usually develops out of feelings of mutual understanding and shared respect for one another. Then there's passionate love. It's characterized by intense emotions, sexual attraction, anxiety, and affection. When these intense emotions are reciprocated, people feel elated and fulfilled, while unreciprocated love leads to feelings of despondency and despair. So passion is all or nothing. So the passionate love either is, woo, great, or I don't feel like being here no more. My life is not worth it. Your neighbor say, it's a cold, cold world. Hatfield suggests that passionate love arises when cultural expectations encourage falling in love. I'm going to read that again because I think that applies to 2024 and the social media stuff. He suggests that passionate love arises when cultural expectations encourage falling in love. When there's an expectation for you by now to have somebody. It's by now, you know, if you can't find nobody, then go on an app because you can find somebody on the app. Even if you're a Christian. You got Christian Mingle, Christian Single, BlackPlanet.com, Silver Foxes, Holier Than Thou, whatever you want. You know, listen, I need to find a woman to speak in tongues. They got an app. You can find somebody that's going to shun that up shot. So, people encourage the falling in love. And when the person meets one preconceived ideas of love, when one experiences heightened psychological arousal in the presence of other persons. So this love is transitory, according to Hatfield, and only lasts between 6 and 30 months. A rocket ship ain't gonna last forever. A rocket burns out and then comes back to Earth. So you get in these relationships and you just nose wide open. You traveling every week. You ain't going to church. You ain't doing nothing. Ain't going to work, nothing. And in 2 years, like, what happened to them? It didn't work. But now you done got beat up, broken, busted, disgusted. Your credit jacked up. You got a police record. All in the name of love. If loving you is wrong, I don't want to be right. It's wrong. He says, ideally, passionate love leads to compassionate love, which is far more enduring. He says, while most people desire relationships that combine the security and stability of compassionate love with intense passionate love, Hatfield said that's rare. So, what are you saying? Most of these theories say you can't have your cake and eat it too. Most of these theories said, so you want passionate, hot. I'm trying to see how many kids I got in here. Okay, I gotta watch myself. You want to have the passion and the hotness, but you also want the security and commitment. Well, sometimes those don't go together. And so sometimes what you want's the passion, but the passionate people ain't got jobs. You like that passion. It's like every time he come over, he stay the night because he ain't got to go nowhere in the morning. Pastor, I need somebody. Oh, listen, whenever she comes over here, she give me all her attention because she can't cook. Man, every time she comes, we sit down and we order food. Yeah. And I'm saying, that can't last. So listen, because you don't understand the love of God, you're searching for a unicorn in life. You're trying to find that perfect person that is going to be the freak in the sheets, but also be the provider and the Boaz and the spiritual head of the family and all these things. That's a unicorn, Charlene. This ain't Build-A-Bear. Pastor, listen. When you go to your office, I know you do, God works through you. Listen, I want to put in my order. Listen, I want him to be this skin tone. I want him to be this muscles, this hair texture. He make this much money, drive this kind of car. Love God, too. Is submitted to the things of God. Can cover me and my family. Family ain't crazy. And just make him. Listen, God can't even make him. But you asking me to work a miracle that God's like, yet he don't exist. You've been watching too many AI commercials. So, Deaconess, how can I possibly try to transform a region when nobody knows how to love? When everybody here has their own theory. You're like, yeah, I like that liking and loving. That's what me. I like The Rock. Listen, people come in, they passionate rocket ship. Whoa, I love Pastor Curl. 12, 24 months. What happens when you're on a team of people and everybody in your team that you're trying to work with to bring the vision to pass have a different understanding and theory and perspective about how to be loved? So, Ashley, you don't love me because of how you treat me and talk to me. But I say, I do love you because of how I treat you and talk to you. You see love as being quiet and real somber and just real patient. But that's not how I grew up in a household of love. My love was, hey, get your butt in here. Didn't I tell you to wash these dishes? You got one more time. That's love. Love for me was, do not embarrass me out here. Don't make me whoop your butt in front of these people. Because I love you. So if that's how I view love, but you grew up in a timeout, in a compromise, in a talk to, someone sent me video the other day. These people, this psychologist was arguing, and he said that he think that kids should be able to disrespect their parents. He said, because when you don't allow your kids to disrespect you, then in life they go through basically doing whatever people tell them to do without asking questions. So he said your kids should be able to, if you say clean up your room, your kids should be able to say, why should I clean up my room? That was his theory. But it ain't biblical. The Bible says God chastens those whom he loves. The Bible says obey your parents, respect them. Why? So you can have long life. I brought you in this world, I'll take you out. That's Bible. But depending upon how you were parented and what generation you're part of determines what you view as love. So I say, I loved you because I said, come here, let's talk. You said, no, you're supposed to let me slide. That's love. You say, why you tell pastor? You a snitch. You say, no, I told pastor because I love you and you about to mess up your life. So we have all these theories of love that exist. And it's part of the problem. And so hoping, all these theories hope to provide insight into how love forms and evolves. Each one contributes what we know about this emotion, providing several possible explanations for how love-based relationships begin, how they grow, and how they change. So, understanding the many different challenges and theories of love leads us back to our text in Matthew 24. As Jesus is predicting the destruction of the temple, the signs of the times, and the end of this current age, this eon, because this age ends with the rapture of the church. And then we have the age to come, the eschaton, the end times that we've been talking about on Wednesday nights. So this current age is going to come to an end. And so Jesus was trying to help people, Rosie, to understand, how do I know that we're getting closer to the end? He says, you got to pay attention to these things so you can know that we're coming closer to the end. And so he says in verse 3, it says, now as he sat on the Mount of Olives, the disciples came to him privately, telling us, when will these things be? And what will the signs of your coming and of the end of the age? Because, the disciples, Deacon Robinson, often got greater teaching because they were willing to be engaged. So the disciples came after he taught the message and said, okay, when you said that, what does that mean? They were willing to be vulnerable and be wrong, asking dumb questions like, oh, so who's going to be the greatest? Listen, they done called their mama. So you know it's serious. They done called their mama up there to talk to the man of God. They done called their mama to talk to the Messiah. Mama, go talk to him and find out which one of us going to be on the right and which one going to be on the left when he come in this kingdom. We just trying to know because we done sacrificed a lot out here. We left everything. And so we trying to figure out when we're going to come up. So the disciples, Mike, came to him wanting to have a private one-on-one. Everybody done left. They were pilling around. All right, Jesus, got a question for you. So how we know? What's going to be the sign of your coming? What's going to be the sign of the end of the age? Jesus says, take heed that no one deceives you. For many will come saying that I'm the Christ and will deceive many. He says, watch out because people are going to appear they're doing the work of God that are not. He says, you got to be careful because everyone who is a preacher on IG is not a preacher in life. He says you got to be careful and make sure that you don't get caught up in a church that is all about sociological things, but there are no doctrinal things ever talked about. So you got to be careful because you can get deceived. Next thing you know, you're part of Seventh-day Adventists, and you're part of the Church of Latter-day Saints. You're part of Jehovah's Witnesses, and you're deceived because they tell you that, oh, we're the same as Christianity. They take you to some of the texts and be like, look, my Bible says what your Bible says. But we never have a conversation about, okay, let's just spoil this right now in this conversation. Who you say Jesus is, all right? Is he Michael the Archangel? Is he God in the flesh? Is he fully God, fully man? Well, see, what had happened was, no. I need to talk to you because you're going to hell. Yeah. We ain't doing that. Pastor, that's too confrontational. We're supposed to love people. See, what's wrong with the church right now? There's no love. The world loves me more than the church does. There's no love in the church. Jesus said, be careful because people will come. And Caleb, deceit is not deceit if you're being deceived. So a good deceiver going to tell you, hey, Jordan, want to let you know, about to deceive you. You don't know you done got till you done got. You sitting at the red light. You think you good. You hit the gas. Your car don't move. You done got jacked. Your car on blocks now at the red light. Man, they could have told me they're going to get me. That defeats the purpose. So they got to get you when they know you ain't looking. But a deceiver is very good because the Bible says that Satan shall appear as an angel of light, which means he not coming like you think he coming. This ain't no pitchfork and tails. Saying you got to understand everything that says they're of God is not of God. That's why you got to make sure you know what you believe. So he says, watch yourself. Don't get worried. Don't worry about what everybody else doing. Take heed to yourself so that you don't get deceived. He said, for many will come my name saying I'm the Christ and will deceive many. You will hear of wars and rumors of wars. Listen, does North Korea have weapons of mass destruction? Is China aligned with Russia? What's going to happen in the Middle East between Israel and Palestine with all these college students protesting Palestine, on every campus all over the nation? What wars and rumors of wars? He says you're going to hear these things. Don't trip. It's supposed to happen. He says see that you're not troubled. And all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation will rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. There will be famines, hunger, where people don't have food. You say you ain't got food just because you ain't got nothing to put in the microwave. You got food. You don't want to cook. Some of y'all ain't never turned the stove on in your life. Like, ooh, that gas dangerous. So you sitting around just hungry. Like I didn't have nothing to eat here. Did you go to that cabinet and see all that food? I couldn't find nothing I wanted. We don't deal with famine in this country. There are countries that deal with famine where they're you say you can't find nothing to eat because you're picky. You have access to food, you just don't access it. They don't have access to food. So there's famines, there's pestilences, which is viral outbreaks of disease, and we don't know where they come from, and then we don't know when they leave. So where did Ebola come from? Where did it go? Because for a minute, everybody's like, oh, you got that Ebola. Okay, what happened? I'm saying, where did COVID really come from? We don't know. Was it in a lab in Wuhan, China? Did it come from a bat? Did it come from a dog? Did it come from a rat? Where did it come? We don't know. And I'm saying, it ain't gone either. No. Some of y'all were like, I thought I got the shot. That I was going to be good. No, that was a vaccination. That wasn't, immunity forever. Says famines, pestilence, earthquakes in various places. There was an earthquake in South Dallas on Wednesday. A 3.2 on the Richter scale, South Dallas. There was a month ago, there was an earthquake in East Texas, where I'm from. A few months ago, there was an earthquake in New York. The San Andreas Fault, it runs along the West Coast. What are we doing having tremors over here? Earthquakes in various places. Doesn't make sense. It's one of those things where you're like, okay, there's something happening that's not normal. It says all these things are the beginning of sorrows. Look at them and say, oh, it's going to get worse. Seems like the world going crazy. It is, and so is the church. Yeah, it's wild. It's crazy. There's stuff that I see in the church, I'm like, that happened, there's no holiness no more. There's no standard. Says, and they will deliver you up to tribulation and kill you. And you'll be hated by all the nations for my name's sake. Jesus is like, don't get it twisted. You're going to die. You trying to live for me, they're going to try to take your life. He says, but for my name's sake, not because you got bad credit. Someone like, oh man, I be getting persecuted. Those bill collectors are not persecutors. They're debt collectors. You owe them. Says, and then many will be offended and betray one another and hate one another. There is so much hatred and vitriol in the world. Our last two presidential elections and our impending one in November shows us just how much hatred exists in this nation. People are offended. Every time you turn around, somebody offended. Somebody, I don't like what they did, so you're going to cancel people. So we constantly canceling people. I don't like what that star did. I don't like what that preacher said. I don't like what that preacher was wearing. I don't like what that preacher drive. I don't like the house that preacher got. Cancel him. Everybody wants to, now everybody's offended. You can't talk to anybody because they get offended. I can't correct nobody because you're offended. How you offended when you're supposed to be dead? You're supposed to die. But now you offended. How you offended that people don't feel? My family has a funeral home business. I grew up around it. They don't say nothing. In high school, my cousin and I used to go pick up bodies. And they would load them in the Suburban. We take to the funeral home. And I asked my grandfather, I was like, how you do that? And he's like, oh, they don't bother me. He's like, I ain't worried about them dead people, but that sucker sitting beside you, that's alive. That's the one you need to be watching out for. And I was like, you got a point. I'm saying, so if you're dead, you're not feeling. But what's happening is you're trying to die and live at the same time. So you want to situationally die when it's to your benefit. And it says, people will betray one another. You can't trust nobody. Listen, you can't trust nobody. I'm saying, everybody's like, Drake got a snitch in his camp. He has to. Kendrick said it. He said you got a snitch in your camp. He said you got a snitch in your camp. Listen, let me tell you what they're about to do. So he responds. As soon as this man responds, and it's already written everything he's gonna say. How you do that? Snitches. Everybody got a price. Listen, that's my dog, but how much you gonna pay me? People betray one another, hate one another. It says, and because lawlessness will abound, the love of many will grow cold. Because lawlessness will abound. Because every time you go to social media and turn on the TV, all you see is lawlessness. Turn on the news last night, 9 o'clock news, San Antonio. Some dudes are riding around San Antonio shooting people with BB guns. So as they get off city bus, pop, 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 and roll off. Okay, so they're going to run up on the wrong person that ain't got no BB gun. And it's going to be over. But I'm saying it's everywhere you look, it's lawlessness. It's craziness. It's people feeling like they got a right to do stuff. Lawlessness, like storming the Capitol. That's lawlessness. You can't do that. That's treason. And it says, because lawlessness will abound, the love of many will grow cold. This word cold is the Greek word suko. It looks like the English word psycho. Y'all didn't put my O on there. They just put suk. Suke. It's suko. Listen, suko means to breathe cool by blowing, to grow cold. It's a spiritual energy blighted or chilled by a malign or poisonous wind. So there's a spirit, a wind that's blowing throughout our post-Christian nation that now makes people's love begin to wane. To where I feel some negative way towards you no matter what. So no matter what good you do, there's something that's in the air that makes me want to be cold. I can walk into an environment, and that environment's upbeat, but then something happens. A wind comes through, and now everybody's frowning, everybody's upset and pissed off at each other. It's a waning love. It's TJ, it's to where I don't feel what I used to feel. But it's worse than not feeling what I used to feel. Now I feel negative where I used to feel positive. But why? Because it's a poisonous wind. So now you don't realize it, but we're being poisoned by the things we take in the world around us. So now we hate people that we ain't even met. We have an opinion of people that we've never interacted with, but someone else told us how to feel about them. The immigrants are trying to take our country. That's why we got to have the wall, doggone it. Okay, but who's taking what from who? So the people who were complaining about stuff being taken took it from somebody else. So the taker mad because somebody else taken. So there's a cold, poisonous wind that's blowing through that makes people have an inability to have any type of enduring love. I can only love you for so long, then I got to go home. I can only love you for so long, then I got to move around. I need a break. Pastor, I came to 3 straight church services. I love y'all, but, have you ever wondered why? Because I've heard y'all say this. Have you ever wondered why? I'm thinking people say, I love the saints, but what? I love the people of God, but I can't wait to get home. Ooh, I love the people of God, but they get on my nerves sometimes. Ooh, I love Pastor, but sometimes he be too raw. Ooh, I love. Why is there a but? Because there's a wind that begins to blow to where I watch people, their demeanor change for no reason. We can go from being joyous and excited. It's like, what happened? It was a wind. So, Pastor, you got 10 points this morning? Nope. You got 3? Nope. So, Pastor, what's the solution for this cold world? Let everybody say God. First John 4:7 says, Beloved, let us love one another, for love is of God. And everyone who loves is born of God and knows God. He who does not love does not know God, for God is love. How can I say I know God, but I don't love God's people? How can I say I love God, but I can't love my brother and sister to my left and to my right? How can I say I love God, but I don't love God's vision and I don't love God's church? Listen, you can't say that you love me and have an issue with my wife. You can't say that you love me and mistreat my children and grandchildren. You can't, and you can't say, I love you, I accept you, but they got to stay where they at. Because you know I don't like them. So how can we love God and not love God's church and love God's people that are part of his body? Pastor, ain't my fault. I wasn't loved as a child. I don't know how to love. God is love. So when I give my life to Christ, Caleb, I'm now a new creation. Behold, all things are passed away. Behold, all things have become new. I'm a new creation now. So therefore, I cannot be holding on to old stuff in a new situation. So it doesn't matter how I grew up and what I did not get. What do I get now that I am in God? So it doesn't matter what mama didn't do, what daddy didn't do, what my ex-boyfriend did, my ex-husband, my ex-wife. It don't matter what they did. Because if I'm in God, there's no way for me to be in God and I cannot love. And God's love is agape, the unconditional love, the love that we can't pay him back. See, you don't get to real love until you can do something for someone knowing they can't do nothing back for you. See, most of our love, it's quid pro quo love. Scratch my back, scratch your back. Do something for me, do something for you. It's not unconditional. It says, in this the love of God was manifested toward us, that God sent his only begotten Son into the world, that we may live through him. In this love, not that we loved God, but that he loved us and sent his Son to be the propitiation or the payment for our sin. Beloved, if God so loved us, we ought to love one another. So I want God to love me, but I will not in turn love others like God loves me. Because I've brought my theories of love, million of them, into the house of God. And then you have the audacity to say something like, ain't no love at this church. But you experience the power of God. Presence of God. So God is present. But the problem is that you see God and people around you through your wounded definition of love. And because you have been hurt in life, in relationships, maybe by even other people in other churches, because the church can't hurt you. It's an organism. People in church hurt you. Right. So you don't have church hurt, you have people hurt. Right. Make it plain. But because you've experienced these things, now it jades and taints your definition of love. You know, you ever been in a bad relationship? Raise your hand. Bad one. If you've been in a bad one, you don't know how to appreciate a good one. So you oftentimes look at that good one through the lens of the bad one, and you superimpose on the good one what the bad one did. So if the bad one stayed out all night, tricking around, then you think the new one out tricking. He's like, I ain't tricking, I'm at working. I don't, that's not how I get down. Don't matter. That's how you define love. That's the lens in which you see relationships through. So if you saw a relationship, if your father was a loving, very affectionate man. So as a woman, you say, well, if a man don't do that, he ain't real. Okay, but no, that just means he's different. He's his own man. Right. But you miss out on love because you don't know what love is. Yes. And then you fall in and out of love. Listen, real love you don't fall in and out of. No. You fall in and out of eros. Right. You fall in and out of passionate love. You all those other definitions, you fall in and out of that. You know, but when it's real love, you don't fall out of it. And I'm saying Mary J. Blige was on to something. She didn't say I have a real love. She said I'm what? I'm looking for a real love. Jody Watley said I'm looking for a new love. Everybody looking for love in all the wrong places. And because I don't know what love is, I don't know how to receive it. So when I come up to you and say, where were you? What? I haven't seen you in a few weeks. Where have you been? I'm saying people can't miss around here. Dog, shoes. So I see love, Anisha, as accountability. You see love as accountability, as control. So I say, why are you coming home at 2 a.m? What? I'm grown. Do you live here? Do you reside at this address? Do you breathe this air in here? So you couldn't text, call nobody? My friends have said that I don't need to be checking in with you. So I view love as I don't want you all up all night worrying about where I'm at. So I'm going to communicate with you to let you know this is what I'm doing because I love you, not because you control me. You see checking in and accountability as control. And I ain't letting no one be controlling me. You know, I come as what I please. So then, it's going to be a real cold world on that couch. And I'm saying, so what happens when you're around a ministry that is Bible-centered, spirit-filled, community-building, kingdom-minded? We believe in doctrine, we believe in teaching, we believe in growth, we believe in accountability, we believe in stewardship. And we do these things out of love, and you see it as an attack. So we call you to check on you. Why are you checking on me, sending me messages? I don't be responding to people like that. Ooh, they be bugging. They blowing me up. That's called caring for you. And we caring for you because we love you, even though you're a hard person to love. Because every time I reach out to you, you push me away because you're used to avoiding love. Listen. So this month, look at neighbor, say for the whole month, including Mother's Day. It's next Sunday. We're going to talk about one of the most challenging things in our high-tech and low-touch society, which is how to love one another. Instead of complaining about it, got to fix it. My father said, listen, whatever you want in your ministry, preach it and teach it. Don't fuss it and cuss it. You know, so I was like, okay, Lord, we got a minimum factor. Lord's like, teach your people how to love. Most of them love me, but don't know how to love each other because they've never seen it. They've never felt it. Some people, some of you in the room, and y'all are so funny to me because I'm an affectionate pastor. I'm very hands-on with my people. I'm not a hands-off shepherd. I'm with the sheep. And I hug people a lot. I'm a hugger. And I can tell who's used to being hugged and loved and who's not. Yeah. Because some of you shy away. Resistant, like you ain't getting me. Why? Because I don't trust you like that. Because you're going to hurt me. Everybody always has. What angle you trying to work, Reverend? No, I'm not going to come up here and volunteer. You don't get me. Simply based upon a hug. Oh, it says so very much. Sometimes I hug you and I feel like you're a grown person. I feel like I'm hugging a little child who's never been hugged before in their life. Because you don't know what love looks like. Or if you're a woman of God, all your hugs have been intimate sexually. So you don't know how to have a love and a hug from a father. Or from a man that don't want nothing besides for you to grow and become all that God's called you to be. Man of God, you view hugging as, oh, that's gay. That's gay. You say, listen, the men of God around you will tell you, all the people around you will tell you. I tell people I love them every time I talk to them. Every time. All the time. We on the phone, we get off the phone, love you. If I'm leaving the office, they're leaving the office all the time, I love you. And I can tell people who are uncomfortable with it because they don't know how to say it back. They say things like, sure enough. What? What is it? You too. You too what? That's real. Right on. So something in you can't say, I love you to another man? But it's because you've never seen it modeled for you. So for you, it's like, you ain't going to get no rumors out on me. No. And I'm saying, we don't know. It's not a shock, nor was it our minimum factor was not a shock. Why? I understand the times in which we live. The relationships today, surface. Don't nobody know nobody. Listen, do you interact with anybody in your neighborhood? Nope, you pull in your garage and go in your house. You don't even know your neighbors. There's no neighborly friendships. Ain't nobody talking to nobody around them. Kids don't play together no more because they don't go outside. I'm saying, listen, most of you don't even go into work no more. You work from home. And then when you do go into work, you work in your silo. You don't even interact with people. And you wonder why it's so difficult now to now be a part of the body and actually have to work with other humans and deal with other humans and love them in spite of them, just like God loves you in spite of you. And so God said, teach them how to love. Help them to know what it looks like. Because the world is going to continue to be cold. It's going to get colder. The church is going to continue to be cold. It's going to get colder. But the church has to be the place that people experience both the love and the power of the true and living God.